Warning, this video may contain graphic content, such as sexual scenes, violence, gore, boobies, and the rest of the fun stuff. Please be over 18 to view this, and don't say we didn't warn you, little sinners.
Endlessly searching for an original sound.
Hey guys, welcome back to Lucy's Got Problems. We just kept recording instead of going to the freaking fair. I've been thinking, you mentioned orbs of fate? Like more than one? The seer was done with the tea and started smoking her long pipe. Exactly. In ancient times, when the spirits still lived among other folks, there were many of these artifacts. Some should keep order in the world, and elves have a, so to say, natural talent for it. On this plane of being, no one had yet invented anything better than elven housemaids. And so my ancestors had created a multitude of orbs of fate and gave them to the elves so that they would look after the world. Your ancestors? So you truly are a spirit. You have a problem with that? Not at all. I just thought spirits can't be so materialized. Well, I take regular workouts. Besides, I never thought that spirits, reproduce. Why, no one bats an eye when a god does it. Oh man, I said something awkward again. Time to change the subject. So it turns out, in the past, the orbs were not such a rarity? How come there's almost none left? The orbs bestow their wielder with great power. At first, the elves were using this power for the good, but ages went by and the world changed. Gradually, the clan's power started to begin being measured by the number of keepers, elves able to use the orbs. Some of the orbs were destroyed by my kin when they decided that the gift turned into a curse. Some were destroyed by the elves themselves. Attempts to weaken a rival clan, analyze or steal the power of the orb. Destroying an artifact is much easier than creating one. And why don't you make some new ones and don't give them to some reliable elves or demons? That would be handy if we're all in danger of an apocalypse. The technology is long lost. At the moment, I'm trying to at least figure out how the artifact works. Is that so? And how did the orb get in your hands? Previously, it belonged to the keeper of this forest. Oh, did the keeper also use the orb for her own benefits? So you decided to take it from her? It's the opposite. When Laura felt that the forest was changing for the worst, she was afraid of the failure. She decided to give her orb to me so it wouldn't bring harm to the forest. I tried to persuade her, but she wouldn't listen. Honestly, I was surprised and impressed. I couldn't foresee that Laura could be so determined. Maybe I never really looked into her that much. So the keeper gave up on her power right when her life was at stake? Just to save the forest? Laura was never concerned for her own profit. Poor, foolish child of light. She tried to be a good keeper, did everything to make her family proud of her. But it's impossible to please everyone, you know. Especially if we're talking about a family of elven nobility. Laura didn't understand that. The more effort she exerted, the higher grew the expectations. She had a talent for magic, so her fate was decided since childhood. She studied a lot and then worked hard to hone her gift. And all that to find herself in the foreign woods far from home. When I was looking at Laura, all I saw was loneliness. Wait, didn't your ancestors give the orbs to the elves? Sounds as if you feel sorry for Laura. Why didn't you allow her to cheer up and make friends? My ancestors gave elves the orbs of fate, that's correct. But all the rituals and taboos around them are elven own invention. Sometimes it is easier to postpone the end of the world than to fight tradition. Laura was trapped in a cage made of others' expectations. No surprise that the hollow reached her. The hollow reached her? What hollow? Even I don't know what that thing is, not yet. But I do know how it works. The hollow finds a feeling that's tormenting the soul and turns it into a kind of vortex. Positive thoughts, dreams, and aspirations possesses power akin to that of magic. The hollow sucks this power out until there's nothing left of the soul. In some cases, if the soul was strong enough, its shell lingers on in some sense. This shell becomes a reaper of the hollow. Elves call them the hollow ones. It starts seeking prey. Is that what happened to Laura? Maybe. Laura had a bright magical aura, but I no longer feel it in the forest. And where does all the energy go? Good question. And we'll have to find an answer for it. All I know is that the worlds are whisked out and that someone or something is behind it. The worlds disappear? So this problem doesn't concern this world alone? If nothing stops it from spreading, in time the hollow will consume everything, including all known sources of vanilla ice cream. Such barbarism! I can't allow it! We must fight this hollow! Let it crawl back whence it came and stay away from my ice cream! That's the spirit. And just in time, I believe it's already dusk. Let's get moving. Seer? Huh? I have one more question. I'm going to save. I want the game to actually call my ass out on saving. Why the orb's fate? Why are you wearing sunglasses? Why are you wearing sunglasses? It's pretty dark here anyway. I have to wear them because of my clairvoyance. The future is too bright. Plus, they look really cool. When we found ourselves in the forest, the sun was really setting. Oh my! I thought this grove always looks the same, that it looks so blue during the day. Of course it doesn't. There's a bit more magic and glowing mushrooms here, but otherwise it's just an ordinary forest. At night it's dark, during the day it's bright, and after the rain it's wet. Of course, because of the wild magic, it's easier to get lost here, but it's not a problem if you know how to find the right path. By the way, we have arrived. Following the seer, I entered a round clearing that ended in an abrupt drop. The trees stepped aside before us as if to remain behind an invisible border. Below us, the valley was hidden in a hazy mist, and above us stood the tall red sky. Do you see it? Over there. Is this my star? I mean the orb of fate star? Yep, one and only. Let's hurry up while it's still up there. Yeah, what do I do? Try not to faint. Why would I faint anyway? Well, a ritual of stellar magic can attract an ancient cosmic horror. What kind of cosmic horror? An unknowable one, an unknowable cosmic horror. The seer's fingers arrange in several complex signs. At the same moment, 3 bright sparkles flash in our palms. One after another, they soar into the skies and burst into tiny golden starlets. Meanwhile, the seer was drawing new symbols in the air. What's that you're doing? Turning an array of magic barriers. Will it save us from the ancient horror from outer space? Among other things. Although it's more probable that the bursts of magic will attract something from the forest. For example, those who are touched by the hollow, they are drawn to the energy of any kind. Couldn't we carry this ritual out right in your cave? I'm starting to miss the darkness, moisture, and undefined position in space. We can only conduct this ritual in the open air, so there's no avoiding danger. But whatever happens, my barriers will provide 100% protection, at least to me. While we were talking, thanks to the seer's efforts, a transparent golden dome made of tiny stars appeared above us. The seer approached the dome's edge and carefully touched it with her clawed finger. Whirls of weightless sparkles spread over the surface with a quiet jingle. Looks like the barriers are ready. Now look closely. The special effects are about to begin. The seer raised her face to the sky and froze. I couldn't see her eyes because of the dark glasses, but she must have looked at the star. A sharp gust of wind made me shudder. Is the storm coming? But like before, the tree crowns behind us were almost motionless. The leaves and petals peacefully laying on the grass started rising into the air. Then I realized that a small maelstrom was gathering around the seer. From the condition to condition, from pole to pole, from vibration to vibration. As above do we below, as below so do we above. Shine again, great soul of the prime star. I am really loving this. Kybalion of the stellar mind. For a moment I drowned in a torrent of golden starlight. When I could see again, the seer stood right in front of me, so close I could feel her breath on my lips. And she was beautiful. Her hair was flowing in the wind, and I couldn't feel. Her skin was glowing gold, her lips clung to mine. I felt her hot tongue with mine and answered the kiss. Heat poured all over my body in a pulsating golden wave. I became light, like one of the sparkles dancing in the air. This kiss filled me with something greater than desire, infinite love for the seer, infinite love for the world and everyone in it, infinite power. When the seer moved away from me, I could barely stay up straight. After everything that had happened to me, it was strange to feel myself a demon of flesh and blood again. It was strange to discover I had knees that suddenly got so weak. The kiss was over, but I was still overwhelmed by an unspeakable happiness. Seer? The seer smiled to me. She tenderly stroked my cheek with her hand and then said, "Hi there, Laura." What? You have a party and you hadn't invited me? It's not something you'd expect from an old friend. You seriously upset me, Farrell. This young woman, I remembered her. That who tried to kill me in the swamp. But at the same time, she seemed absolutely insane. I didn't even consider her a girl. It was just a monster. Now she was acting pretty normal. But her face, there still was something odd about it. I knew you would come. I knew you wouldn't miss a chance to stick out your talents. Clairvoyance is a rare gift, isn't it? It's very nice to have such talent. It lets you feel special, allows you to forget that otherwise you mean nothing at all. Or did you try to boast your intelligence? Intelligence that's not enough to prevent the inevitable. Intelligence that literally led you to deal with the devil. Ooh, oh my, you must be desperate. How blind you are, seer, if you can't see who you've fallen in with. Your ward is useless, your time is up. Those you held dear are long gone from this world. You are the last autumn leaf, frantically clinging to the dry branch. Winter has come, Farewell. Let it go. Try to convince me then. If you want to take the upper hand, you'd have to work hard, Laura. Oh, with great pleasure. I was never afraid of hard work. But what's with the tone? This isn't how you talk to your friends. Maybe, but I don't know you. How come? How come your memories betrays you? It's not surprising considering your age, but I'm still curious. Laura knew me, that's true. But she, excuse me, but she wouldn't call me her friend. She was a lonely and introverted girl. You may have her memories, but you're too bad at playing the role. What are you? Oh, we are dead, and through that we live on. We are torn, and through that we are bounded. We are hollow, and through that we are fulfilled. Now we will take back what belongs to us. Well, whatever you are, at least you've got some class. Dusk is a time when light and darkness collide. Very symbolic. Now let's find out if you have the power to back up your claims. Would be a shame if only thing you're good at is speaking of yourself in plural. Laura didn't have an inch. Something was happening to the shadows behind her. Unclear shapes were lurking among the trees. They stretched and compressed, flowed one to another, shook and solidified. That's bad. Seer! What do I do? Do as I told you and don't faint. And don't even try to meddle. The ritual consumes a lot of stamina. I'll handle this myself. But I am... Suddenly Laura lunged forward. It didn't look like the girl jumped, more like her body raised midair and then some unknown force tossed her towards the barrier. Four shadows stretched behind her like a myriad black cable thread. It burns! It burns! It burns! The protective dome flared up, first in gold, then pulsing red. But this time, disturbed sparkles didn't spread out. They rushed at the prey like hornets from a stirred-up nest. Forgot to tell you about the barriers. Hope you like them. Ah! Now this is how provocation works. Sit comfortably, Lucy, and watch the lady get fried on. Ah! At first it seemed to me like it was the barrier that didn't let the girl's body fall down, but then it became obvious that she herself didn't want to retreat. Or rather, something inside her doesn't want her to retreat. Shadows crawled forward from behind Laura's back and tangled into something akin to spider legs. Her face was distorted by pain, but she kept struggling. No, I was too hasty with my judgment. Arrgh! The tendrils of shadows curled into spirals and now resembled huge drills. And you're tougher than I expected. Drill legs hewed into the barrier's surface. Ding, 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 ding! The stars gave their final bursts and fell with a painful ring of shattering glass. You told me the barriers will protect us 100%! The heaven is this! Statistically aberration? Evade. You keep giving me a point to save. Stay in place, stay in place, stay in place, stay in place. Hard to port, stay in place, stay in place. Hard to port. I barely managed to follow the seer's short order. Laura landed just a couple of steps away from me, screaming. Her drills immediately dug into the ground. Fragments of tree roots and pebbles burst in all directions. I see you know a couple of tricks. Perhaps we should get better acquainted. However, Laura didn't pay attention to the seer. As soon as the girl's transparent, as though washed out eyes found me, shadow tentacles came to life. Crap! Strike, another strike. I felt the earth erupting there where my foot was just a moment ago. Pounce! I barely managed to throw my body to the side before vicarious shadows gnawed in a new gaping hole in the grass. The golden glow pulsating near me. A barrier? That's it. I'm getting close to the border of the dome. Breach that Laura made in it had already closed, which meant the barrier was ready for battle again. I see what you want me to do. Jump through the barrier. Keep off the barrier. The barrier didn't harm the seer when she touched it. I must take a chance. I shut my eyes and jumped straight into the golden haze. For a moment, the ringing of glass in my ears became deafening loud, and I felt thousands of weak stings spreading over my body. And then I felt the firm ground under my feet again, the ground on the other side of the barrier. When I realized that, I turned around and froze. Right behind the protective dome was Laura's transparent eyes staring right at me. She froze too. Next second, the ground erupted again, but this time it was the ground under Laura's feet. I hate being ignored. Where are your manners? Ah! Now the tentacles thrust towards the seer. He dodged a series of strikes with surprising ease. And when Laura made a gap between attacks, the seer used this opening to throw one of her cards at her. The card ballooned into a powerful explosion, but Laura didn't even slow down. New attacks hailed at the seer, and each time it was noticeably harder for her to evade. The ritual must have been hard on both of us. You tried so hard. Why don't you stop right? Why don't you stop? Why not rest? Let me help. The hollow is serene. Alright, it's getting boring here. I noticed the seer was reeling, but her voice was still sounding composed and sardonic. Remember you said that my time is up? Let's see who really has time management issues. Wheel of Time! Gigantic, blinding gold cogs appeared out of thin air around Laura, as if they were there from the very beginning, and now simply revealed themselves. One gesture from the seer, and the cogs came to life, crushing the target from all directions. Trying to protect herself, Laura spread her shadow tentacles around, but the gears didn't give them quarter. Pulling, shredding, every second getting closer to the main target. You believe it would stop us? We're greater than time and space. We existed before. We are what stands at the source. Time is only one of the sweet fruits we feast on. Gardens and fields are ripe, the harvest is nay. Shadowed tendrils shivered, changing their form again. This time they took the shape of an enormous sickle. As opposed to an enormous dick, the sickle gleamed in red hues of dusk and jammed itself between the cogs. A weird, desperate sound roared over the clearing like a shriek of a wounded beast. The wheels convulsively compressed around the dark blade and burst. Swing, swing, swing! Golden wheels cracked, one after another. Every time itself is not eternal, or even time itself is not eternal. The seer mumbled something under her breath. Started tracing new symbols in the air, but... Seer! She didn't have time to finish. One of the shadows suddenly stretched out, sharpened, and pierced straight through her shoulder. The shadow aimed at her chest, but the seer somehow managed to avoid the death blow. One way or another, she was trapped. I knew that the next strike would finish her. The seer forbade me from interfering, but I couldn't simply watch. I just hoped there would be enough charge left. Snack! Full power battle mode! The space got traced with thin neon lines. Sneck was calculating objects' weak points. Time slowed down for me. I was monitoring hundreds of numbers flash at the junctions of traced lines, green, yellow, and finally red ones. Maximum probability of a critical strike. There were only 2 red numbers beside Laura. One at her throat, another near the place on her back where the shadow tendrils merged with her body. I wasn't wrong comparing shadows to cables. In the magical augmented reality, I saw power pulsating in each one of them. Those things were like vessels through which Laura was receiving energy. So we can go for 3 different strikes. Use the flamethrower! There was but a single way to hit the weak places at the same time. But flamethrower! When we met before, I was too scared to think, but this time Laura won't stop me. I need to finish this madness. Eat this! Ah! Moon runes! The voices faded into roaring flames. The pillars of hellish fire shot from the barrel of the flamethrower, destroying all on its way. In a single moment, the clearing got hot and bright, as if hundreds of summer middays came at the same time. No wonder I missed the teleportation back to the underworld in such ruckus. Order 66.
I've heard enough.
There's something menacing about the tone of the High Priestess speaks in. I'm eyeing the carpet again, trying not to move, although my body is all cramped already. You forgot what your mission was. Disobey direct orders?
You have to betray the highest values of the Legion of Darkness.
Fuck it. You have betrayed the highest values of the Legion of Darkness multiple times, and were unable to follow the simplest instructions. Last but not least, you acted in support of the enemy army. The servitors at the tent wall are not moving, but I hear a tinkle of jewelry adorning their alert bodies. They are waiting for Tiamat to judge me. Maybe I still have a chance to flee. I try to look around to find some possible escape route. No use. The tent is too well guarded. But still, you've managed to obtain the Orb of Fate. Turns out your talents were more important than your skills. Or is it... I need to think it through. What should we do with the prisoner, your gloominess? Tiamat casts a heavy look upon the servitor. I mean, actually heavy. The poor son of SOD, the poor sod is turned into a wet stain. I hate it when I'm being distracted. Everyone out. You. Finally raise my eyes to the priestess and realize she's addressing me. Get ready for a new mission. I'll be sending for you shortly. And this time, you have no room for failure. Well, guys, that's how that choice ended. But we're going to see the other choices next time. Thank you for joining me for Lucy's Got Problems. Check out my Patreon, all the links in the description, especially if you want to read the comic before it's officially on sale. That's right, it's 100% complete and it's up on the Patreon. This will be the only time one of the comics is for every patron, but I'll talk about that later. So go check it out, and once the comic is officially out publicly, there'll be a link in the description for that, so go support us by picking it up both ways. Check out all the links in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys, and just remember, my birthday's next month. Bye.